Hello, my friends. Welcome to my channel. My name is Kelsey, and this is actually part 2 of the TpT Bootcamp series that I have started. If you have not seen part 1 yet, I would definitely recommend going back and watching that first, because as we are going along with the video series, all the videos, they build upon each other so that way you can be a rock star TpT seller. And what we're going to be talking about is actually how to create your resources. Now, I won't go into the nitty-gritty of like what kind of resources you should make, but I am going to talk about what kind of tools that you can use to create your resources on. So if this is your first time seeing me, please make sure it's not the last by hitting that red subscription button and the bell down below so that you are notified of new videos on my channel every week. And you'll also get notified when I have a new TpT bootcamp series come out. And it's going to be, after this video, there'll be 3 more videos. And then I will have a surprise at the end of the series. So I hope you stay tuned for that. Real quick, do you need some inspiration for creating resources for your TpT or Etsy shops? I'm not going to gatekeep this information from you. I have been exploring the world of scavenger hunts, escape rooms, and digital resources thanks to Think Tank's Easy Escape Rooms. This course will be able to help you make over 38,000 different escape room combinations that you can use for your classroom or for any digital resource that you want to sell on Teachers Pay Teachers or Etsy. The investment that I made in this course has been returned and then some. What are you waiting for? Go ahead and sign up today so that you can go ahead, start creating these resources and start selling products. So one way that you can create your resources is through Google, and there are several Google apps that you can use that is TpT compatible in terms of downloadable resources and internet resources. And believe it or not, teachers on Teachers Pay Teachers are more likely to be interested in resources that are through Google apps or that are internet activities as well. So, but let's explore a little bit on what options you can use to create on Google. So I'm just scrolling down here. So we have Google Docs if you are wanting to do like create worksheets and activities on there. There's also Sheets, which my recent digital activities that I've been posting in my TpT store personally is actually using Google's Sheets to kind of create the interactivity behind it. And then we also have classic Google Slides that you can use to create your classic slide presentations, or if you're wanting something to create for teachers to use in their classroom, obviously. So you do have those options there. You can also have an option to put Jamboard on there, although that seems to be more interactive for live classes. But if you need more prompting in terms of like what kind of collaboration activities you need for your classroom, then Jamboard can be an option in terms of Google Apps. So, and I'm going to be honest with you, I am not really too familiar with how to create a lot of the Google apps on here, like in terms, like I just explored like Sheets, and even then it was a template that was given to me ahead of time. So a lot of the things for Google apps, I'm not super familiar with, but what I am going to show you, which is something that you know I rave about and I talk about a lot on my channel, is Canva and a lot of the Canva features that you can use to create worksheets and to create slides. And Canva has kind of been my go-to in terms of creating resources. So I'm going to be talking a little more about that, but just know that if you are a Google Pro and you just know how to do those things, then that is obviously an option. So now we're on Canva, which, as I mentioned before, Canva is sort of my bread and butter in terms of content creating. So what I'm going to be showing you on here is you can virtually do just about anything on here, but we're going to use this example in this video on how to create a worksheet completely from scratch. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in worksheet. Takes a little bit to load. Now, obviously, there are going to be templates that you can use. However, for the most part, we want to try to steer clear of templates unless we're just like, I'm stuck. We want to try to create things from scratch and not try to take other people's work. So we're going to create a blank template here. And I'm going to just kind of show like some of my favorite pieces of creating a worksheet, on Canva, and how easy it can be to do boxes and circles and arrows and creating that worksheet. So let's say you want to add, name and the date stuff on there. So first of all, I'm going to go to this elements button, and then the top option should be a line. But obviously there's going to be different line shapes. And then we're just going to select this one here up on top. So we're going to actually zoom in. You can zoom in and get like a finer detail on here. And then we can add a text. So we'll do that. So name, and then we're going to squeeze that down. So that way we have name, and then we're going to duplicate this, line it up. We may have to adjust accordingly, and that's okay. Dates are going to be smaller, so we're gonna level that out a little bit. And then we're also going to duplicate that. That way it says date. And obviously this is not perfect because this is just an example that I'm showing you on here. So we would line that up. So I already got that first step here. So next thing that I like to do, so let's say you were making like a maze for your kids to do. So we do have shape options here. Now shapes is probably one of my favorite features because obviously it can come up, you can adjust it, you can make it transparent. So let's say we're gonna add a circle. Now obviously we're going to make it white, but on this border style here, this is where we're gonna add a border weight. Now, I wanna make mine just a little thinner, so 2. 2 is a good border fit for circles. So we're gonna have a circle, and then I'm gonna go back to shapes, and we're gonna do rectangle. We're gonna search rectangle, but we have square, which the thing is for the square, these little bars right here, they're adjustable to make a rectangle. So we're gonna add a border, change the color. So it can be white or transparent either way, and then we're gonna zoom out a little bit. So let's say you wanna make a maze. All right. We can do this, and then we would hit duplicate. We don't want to do that whole circle rectangle process like all over again. So, and then we can adjust and turn here like so. And it can even show you the angles of how to do everything. Now, obviously this does not look like that great. So what we can do is we can click on the shape, and then there should be an option to position it. So we can take it backwards on here if you'd like. So again, ta-da! Took it backwards, so now it just looks like a more solid line. So obviously you change the positioning on there, which I feel like is also like a similar concept if you are working with like Google Slides and Docs and Sheets and all. There's all that same concept, but like I said, I'm not like crazy familiar with that because when I was teaching, I did teach in a school setting, but it was a private Montessori school setting, and it was with early childhood, so it wasn't like I was sitting here creating resources because technically the resources were already made kind of sort of in classrooms. And so we basically just had to see, okay, which child had what lesson. But I digress. As soon as I got out of the classroom and I did all my online teaching stuff, I didn't really have access to Google, but I could get Canva. So that's why I'm like a Canva expert as opposed to like Google Apps expert. But you can see here that there are options in creating your resources. Elements is your best friend in creating shapes, and you can create puzzles and mazes, and you can look at graphics. So this is obviously just like a little example. Like I said, I know all of you are going to be teaching different subjects and going over different things. So, you know, it's going to be different for everyone. So again, this is just an example that you can do on Canva. Some other options that you can do would be Microsoft Word. You can also do Microsoft PowerPoint if you are not really comfortable with Google Apps or Canva as well. That is also an option. And then I also want to talk just a little bit about TpT's own interactive platform, which is called Easel. Now, let me know down in the comments, have you heard of Easel before? Do you have Easel activities in your shop? And you know, let me know what you think at the end of the video, like once I kind of explain a little bit about what Easel is. But I did go over a whole video about TpT's Easel, and I'll leave it somewhere in the cards so that way you can check it out if you're like, ooh, I think I want to create in-house interactive activities for my store. And I most definitely think you should. Now, I also recommend that you take their Easel certified seller course, so that way you actually know how to create resources on Easel. But I most definitely recommend, since again, we are in an era of using a lot more technology in the classroom than we have before, if we can make our resources more interactive, the better, in my opinion. So if you are open to getting certified as an Easel certified seller and be able to create your resources via Easel, go for it. You done, Train? So if you've been joining along with me on the TpT Bootcamp series, then yes, I'm gonna have another little homework assignment for you, so that way you are ready to offer your first product in your TpT store if this is your first time opening up a TpT shop. So next assignment is going to be for you to actually create this said resources. So in the previous video, you were supposed to research topics and kind of validate, you know, what topic of research you're wanting to do and if it's something that other teachers are looking for. So now it's time to get to the nitty-gritty and actually create the resource. If you have some idea of how you want to create it, take the time to do that. And don't be afraid that if you are creating something and then you want to use that same template to use it for like different subjects, don't be afraid to do that. It actually saves time and effort from you. Because if you look at my TpT store where I have my digital activity set, it's going to be a template of the same digital activity, but obviously we're talking about different topics, different reading passages, different questions, but it does save time in the long run, so it's not like hours upon hours to make one resource. But let me know down below, how are you going to create your resource? Are you going to use Canva? Are you going to use Google Apps? Or are you going to use PowerPoint? Are you going to try Easel out? Let me know down below. I want to have these conversations with you, and I want to help you all further out in the long run. And I'm excited to talk about the next step, which again, we're going to explore a little more on Canva for step 3, which is going to be like creating our thumbnails and our preview videos. But for now, let's create the actual product itself that we want to sell on TpT. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in part 3.